very good evening and thanks for joining us this Saturday evening here on Rajya TV's News Tonight. I'm Krishi. In the next 30 minutes, I'll be getting you the latest from India and across the world, starting with the headlines. 2 Indians among 62 passengers killed on board the Boeing 737-800 jet operated by Fly Dubai. High winds and poor visibility believed to have caused the crash. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Harish Rawat accuses the BJP of misrepresenting facts, claims that he still enjoys majority in the assembly, but the BJP says it will stake claim to form a new government. The BJP National Executive Meet begins in New Delhi. In his inaugural address, Amit Shah says that party respects freedom of speech, but anti-India slogans will not be tolerated. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates a 3-day Krishi Unnati Mela, lists out his government's initiatives to double farmer incomes by 2022. And Vice President Hamid Ansari decries the falling standards of ethics in media, says editors must uphold journalistic ethos by ensuring impartiality, accuracy and fairness. Top story this evening, a Fly Dubai passenger jet crashed in the Russian city of Rostov-on-Don, killing all 55 passengers and 7 crew members on board. Officials believe that bad weather, which kept the plane from re-attempting landing for more than 2 hours, likely caused the crash. 2 Indians were among those killed. Here are the details.
It is with deep sadness that our flight from Dubai to Rostov in Russia has crashed on landing. At this moment, our thoughts and prayers with those on board and their loved one and family.
All 62 passengers on board died on Saturday when the Boeing 737-800 jet operated by Fly Dubai crashed before landing at Rostov-on-Don in southern Russia. The Boeing was in air for 6 hours after taking off from Dubai. Thereafter, it tried to land, circling the airport for close to 2 hours. But the aircraft had to abandon the attempt, possibly due to high winds and poor visibility. It made a second fatal attempt at landing, crashing 250 meters short of the runway, bursting into a huge fireball. Emergency services made their way to the scene, but all on board were killed. Most of them were Russians. 2 Indians were also among those killed.
Причин катастроф никак не изменилось. Это прежде всего плохие погодные условия. Количество погибших также осталось прежним. 55 пассажиров и 7 членов экипажа.
Russia has launched an investigation, although bad weather is believed to be the most likely cause. Both planes' flight data recorders and one of the 2 voice recorders have been recovered. The UAE Civil Aviation Authority is sending its investigators to Moscow to help in the investigation. They would be joined by teams from Boeing and the US-based National Transportation and Safety Board. Meanwhile, relatives of those killed mourned their loved ones at the airport. Russian President Vladimir Putin also expressed his deepest condolences. Sunday has been declared a day of mourning in the Rostov region.
All 62 people on board were killed, and among these 62 people we have 8 Ukrainians, and let us mourn the memory of those perished with a moment of silence.
Rostov-on-Don airport will be closed until Sunday. Until then, flights were redirected to the city of Krasnodar, 141 miles south of the airport. The last major aviation disaster involving Russia was on 31st of October last year, when a Russian airliner blew up in the air over Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, killing all 224 aboard. Investigators determined it was destroyed by a bomb on board. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
The political crisis in Uttarakhand took a new turn today, with Governor Dr. Krishnakant Pal writing today to Chief Minister Harish Rawat, asking him to prove majority in the Assembly by the 28th of March. Rawat is expected to meet the top Congress leadership in Delhi on Sunday to apprise them about the current developments. Earlier, Rawat had accused the BJP of misrepresenting facts, stating that he still enjoyed a majority in the House that he was ready to prove on the floor of the House. In fact, the BJP now claims that it has the support of 35 MLAs, including 9 rebel Congress MLAs, stating that the party should be invited to form a new government.
Amid an impending collapse of his government, Uttarakhand Chief Minister Harish Rawat on Saturday claimed he was ready to prove his majority on the floor of the Assembly. On the BJP's claims that it was backed by 35 MLAs, including 9 rebel Congress MLAs, Rawat said at least 5 of those MLAs were still in touch with him.
विरोधियों में से अभी तक 4-5 लोगों ने हमसे संपर्क किया है और हमने एक बात स्पष्ट तौर पर कह दी है कि मैं भाजपा से कहना चाहता हूं कि हम सदन में अपना बहुमत सिद्ध करने के लिए तैयार हैं.
On the other hand, the BJP claimed it should be invited to form the government as the incumbent Congress dispensation was now a minority.
फिलहाल ये सरकार अल्पमत में आ गई है और ये सरकार को अब सत्ता में बने रहने का वैसे भी कोई नैतिक अधिकार नहीं है.
Party leaders say that 9 rebel Congress MLAs have arrived in Delhi and are in touch with BJP leaders. A 3-member BJP delegation of former Chief Minister and MP Bhagat Singh Koshyari, Jaju and General Secretary Kailash Vijayvargiya met Governor KK Paul on Friday night after a day of fast-paced developments in the hill state.
अरे भैया ऐसा है कि राक्षस राज का अंत हो गया है, जनता इसने मुक्ति पा ली है. हम गवर्नर से कहने जा रहे हैं कि सरकार को तुरंत बर्खास्त करो, इसे तुरंत बर्खास्त होना चाहिए.
Amid chaos in the Assembly, 9 Congress rebels joined BJP in demanding a division of votes on the state's annual budget, which could have led to the government's fall.
मेरा उत्तराखंड की राजनीति से ना ही पार्टी ने मुझे ऐसा कोई इशारा किया है कि मुझे कहीं भी उस उत्तराखंड के विषय में कोई दखलंदाजी करनी है.
Congress MLA from Rudraprayag, Harak Singh Rawat, claimed the finance bill had fallen, clearly indicating that the ruling party has been reduced to a minority with 35 votes against the budget and 32 in its favour.
सरकार बिल्कुल सेफ है. जब विनियोग विधेयक पास हो गया, आप देख रहे हैं कि क्रमवार सारे विधेयक पास हुए. हरक सिंह जी ने भी 3 विधेयक हाउस में रखे और वो तीनों विधेयक पास हुए.
The rebel MLAs included, Congress has 36 MLAs in the 70-member assembly. The ruling party also has the support of 6 members of the Progressive Democratic Front. The BJP has 28 MLAs. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, in more news, the BJP National Executive and office bearers are meeting in the national capital. Inaugurating the 2-day meet, Party President Amit Shah focused on the issue of nationalism. He said that while his party respects the freedom of speech, slogans against India cannot be tolerated. In his speech, he also criticized the top leaders of the Congress and left parties for supporting JNU students who allegedly shouted anti-India slogans. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be addressing the concluding session tomorrow.
पार्टी और सरकार की पूरी आलोचना का सम्मान करती है, लेकिन देश की आलोचना नहीं सही जाएगी. देश विरोधी गतिविधियों को अभिव्यक्ति की आजादी के नाम पर न्यायोचित नहीं कहा जा सकता. जितनी बड़ी संख्या में केरल में हमारे कार्यकर्ताओं पर हमले हो रहे हैं, उनकी हत्या हो रही है. बंगाल में भी हमले हो रहे हैं, हत्या करने की कोशिश की गई है. इसके लिए उन्होंने उसकी भर्त्सना की.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today inaugurated the 3-day Krishi Unnati Mela in New Delhi. Listing out his government's initiatives, he said that the government was committed to achieving its goal of doubling farmer incomes by 2022. With back-to-back droughts hitting the agriculture output, Prime Minister Modi called for steps to conserve water and urged farmers to focus on crop diversification and allied activities like dairy, poultry and food processing. He said that the eastern states are capable of a second green revolution by adopting modern technologies as the states have adequate water and fertile land. The 3-day fair will provide information on new farmer schemes and technologies and is being telecast live at the block panchayat level for maximum reach to farmers.
अगर भारत को आर्थिक संपन्न बनना है, आने वाले 25-30 साल तक लगातार आगे बढ़ना है, रुकना ही नहीं है, तो वो जगह सिर्फ गांव है, गरीब है, किसान है, वहीं से होने वाला.
Meanwhile, Vice President Hamid Ansari today lamented the deteriorating ethical standards in media, stating that examples of high professional standards these days are few and far between. delivering the inaugural address at the seminar on the role of editors in today's media, organized by Rajya Sabha Television in New Delhi. The Vice President said that the editor holds the key to forming public perception and, by extension, public opinion, and thereby sets the agenda for the national debate. He further said that to uphold journalistic ethos and values, an editor must ensure that the content is accurate and relevant, be impartial and independent, and be fair and respectful.
There was a time not long ago when newspaper editors were intellectual stalwarts who acted as the brain trust of the country. The editor was the personality of the newspaper, setting its tone and tenor, as well as determining its philosophical and political line. A political editor recently confided that credibility, which often takes years to build, is being treated as a commodity by media houses, and that part of it is being bartered for immediate economic gains. Such an observation, serious in itself, dents the requisite professional standard of journalism and impinges on an essential prerequisite of a free press in a free society.
Meanwhile, in more politics, the Congress today raised corruption allegations against the BJP government at the centre and sought the dismissal of Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari from the Union Cabinet. Party General Secretary Digvijay Singh raised the issue of the tender for the Jozila Pass tunnel being given for IRB infrastructure developers. Seeking an inquiry into the issue by a parliamentary standing committee, Digvijay Singh also questioned why the name of Gadkari's OSD was dropped from an FIR filed in a corruption case.
ये जोजिला पास टनल का ठेका 10,500 करोड़ का जो सिंगल बिड पे दिया गया था वो निरस्त कर दिया गया है या उसको कैंसिल कर दिया गया है। इसका मतलब ये है कि मैंने जो आरोप लगाया था वो सीवीसी ने और प्रधानमंत्री जी ने सही पाया। जब मेरा आरोप सही पाया है और उन्होंने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कैंसिल कर दिया है तो अब हम ये जानना चाहते हैं कि जवाबदारी किसकी है।
Meanwhile, former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah on Saturday questioned the secrecy around the government formation efforts between the PDP and the BJP in Jammu and Kashmir. Addressing the media at an annual convocation ceremony at a college in Ludhiana, he also spoke at length on the ongoing debate on nationalism. He said that while he had no objections with the slogan of Bharat Mata Ki Jai, he doesn't need to prove his nationalist sentiments by chanting it. Omar Abdullah also launched a scathing attack against the BJP, stating that the situation has become like the 80s when it had gone about dismantling state governments.
ना मैंने आपसे कहा ना मैं आपको सर्टिफिकेट नहीं दूंगा, मैं नहीं दूंगा जनाब, मेरा कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, मुझे कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, लेकिन मैं आपकी खुशी के लिए कोई सर्टिफिकेट मुझे आपसे ना चाहिए ना मैं आपको देने के लिए तैयार हूं। मुझे इस मुल्क के बारे में मेरी क्या सोच है, मेरे क्या ख्यालात हैं, मुझे मोहब्बत है या नहीं है वो मैं जानता हूं। मुझे उसको साबित करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है और आपकी खुशी के लिए या किसी और की खुशी के लिए वो मैं साबित करने के लिए तैयार नहीं। मुफ्ती मोहम्मद सैयद साहब के गुज़रने के बाद आम तौर पे ये सोचा जा रहा था कि नए लीडर के तौर पे पीडीपी के सदर को जो है इलेक्ट किया जाएगा और बीजेपी की तरफ से उन्हें सपोर्ट जो है वो ऑटोमेटिकली जो है वो पेश किया जाएगा, लेकिन बात वहाँ तक पहुँची नहीं। इतना हमें ज़रूर मालूम है कि पीडीपी की तरफ से आज ये कहा जा रहा है कि कोई नई शर्त नहीं, हमें सिर्फ एजेंडा फॉर अलायंस पे जो है हमें एक अश्योरेंस चाहिए था। जहाँ तक मेरी नाखुश सोच ये है, ये एजेंडा फॉर अलायंस ये 6 साल के लिए तय किया गया था। अब अगर 6 साल के लिए एजेंडा था तो 6 साल के बाद आप देख लीजिए आपने इसमें क्या हासिल किया क्या नहीं किया।
We'll have a quick break here. We'll be back with more news in a bit. Stay with us.
But these non-tuberculous bacteria, they cannot cause disease. T cells plays a cardinal role in protection against tuberculosis. Since leprosy and tuberculosis, they are like cousins. Leprosy is a disease which is not communicable unless until you touch a scar.
Watch Eureka with Dr. J.N. Agrawala, Chief Scientist, CSIR IMT, Chandigarh, only on Rajya Sabha TV.
Art arisen from a multi-hued cultural canvas. Tradition and cultural fervour dating back centuries. And encircling them all, there's a magic that awes. Embrace your nation's brilliant human warmth. Watch Colours of India, Sundays at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. Let's get to some more national news. And rains lashed the plains of Jammu and Kashmir today, while the higher reaches received heavy snowfall, in fact fresh snowfall, triggering landslides in various parts of the state. The weather conditions have left hundreds of people, including tourists, stranded. An avalanche warning has also been issued and people have been asked to stay away from avalanche-prone areas.
The Jammu-Srinagar National Highway remained closed for traffic for the third consecutive day on Saturday, even as operations to clear debris from landslides is underway. Meanwhile, the higher reaches of Kashmir also received snowfall, even as intermittent rainfall over the Pir Panjal mountain range in Jammu and Kashmir has raised water level of River Tawi.
सारी रात नहीं सो पाए, सामान छतों पर रखे हैं और देखते हैं कि कब दरिया अंदर आ जाएगा पानी और हम लोग परेशान हो चुके हैं.
Heavy rains washed away a bridge in Poonch district, leaving at least 30,000 people disconnected from the main city.
ज़्यादा परेशानी है, हर आदमी बहुत ही परेशान है. एक मैं बता दूं कि रास्ता एक छोटा दरिया से एक बनाया हुआ था गाड़ियों के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने, लेकिन वो रास्ता कल बह चुका है. अब 30-35 हज़ार आदमी जो खजल खराब हो रहा है, बहुत परेशान हो रहे हैं.
ये दरिया जो है बार बार ये बह जाता है, जो ये रास्ता बनाते हैं, और इतना कच्चा रास्ता और इतना ख़राब रास्ता है, और हम ये बूट उतार के 3 बार हम दरिया क्रॉस किया हमने. तो हम ये पुंछ वालों को कहना चाहते हैं कि इस रोड को जल्द से जल्द पुल को तैयार करें.
Widespread rains have been predicted in the plains over the next 2 days, adding the possibility of light to moderate snowfall in the high reaches. Keeping in view the inclement weather, the Met Department has issued an advisory for immediate precautionary measures. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you some more national news stories in Nationwide. 5 men associated with a local cow protection vigilante group were arrested on Saturday on suspicion of thrashing and hanging to death 2 Muslim cattle traders in Jharkhand's Latehar district. The dead victims are identified as Mazloom Ansari and Imtiaz Khan, the 13-year-old son of another cattle trader. The area saw clashes between Hindus and Muslims over beef-eating incidents 3 months ago. Former Delhi University lecturer S.A.R. Gilani was today granted bail by a Delhi court in a sedition case related to an event conducted at the Press Club of Delhi last month. Gilani's counsel Satish Tamta sought in fact bail, claiming that there was nothing on record to show that Gilani shouted anti-India slogans or asked others to do so. YSR Congress MLA Roja protested outside the Andhra Pradesh Assembly along with other party members after she was prevented from entering the Assembly for the 2nd day in a row. The MLA from Chittoor district was suspended for a year during the winter session of the Assembly in December last year for allegedly using unparliamentary language against certain members of the ruling Telugu Desam party. International news now. In Paris attack suspect Salah Abdeslam has been arrested by Belgian officials. 4 others have also been taken into custody along with him. French President François Hollande said that he expected Abdeslam to be extradited to France at the earliest. Meanwhile, US President Barack Obama called Belgian and French leaders and congratulated them.
Salah Abdeslam, the most wanted fugitive in the Paris terrorist attack, was arrested following a dramatic raid by Belgian police forces. Abdeslam was captured after a shootout in Brussels. He was on the run for nearly 4 months. Belgian officials said he is being held in a hospital with a slight leg injury. Munir Ahmed Alaj, another suspect on the wanted list, was also arrested along with him. 3 members of a family accused of sheltering Abdeslam were also detained.
Mesdames et messieurs, je vous remercie pour votre présence ce soir. Il me revient de vous annoncer que nous avons arrêté Salah Abdeslam dans le cadre de perquisitions qui sont liées aux enquêtes en lien avec les attentats de Paris du 13 novembre.
European leaders lauded the arrest. French President François Hollande expressed hopes that Abdeslam will be extradited to France as soon as possible. He also said Abdeslam might have links with Syria and IS.
Et nous nous apercevons, sans rentrer dans le détail de l'enquête, qu'ils sont beaucoup plus nombreux que ce que nous avions pu un moment penser et identifier. Et ce que je peux dire, c'est que partout, en Belgique comme en France, le niveau de la menace est très élevé.
The 26-year-old Abdeslam was born in Brussels. He lived in Molenbeek before the Paris attacks. Now the security officials will grill Abdeslam on Islamic State's plans and structures, his contacts in Europe and Syria, and support networks and finance. 130 people were killed in a series of coordinated terrorist attacks in Paris in November. Saleh Abdeslam is the only living suspect. Since all other identified attackers were killed, Abdeslam will be the key to understand what happened on November 13, 2015. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
With that, let's take you through some more international news updates in Global Buzz. 4 people were killed and 20 injured in a suicide bomb attack in Turkey's capital Istanbul today. The suicide bomber was among the 4 people killed in the attack. The bombing took place on Istanbul's main pedestrian shopping road. The attack comes nearly a week after a suicide car bombing in the capital Ankara, in which 37 people were killed. The United Nations Security Council on Friday strongly condemned and expressed grave concern over North Korea's recent ballistic missile launches. The UN said that the action was unacceptable and clearly violated UN resolutions. North Korea launched 2 ballistic missiles off the west coast of the Korean peninsula, South Korean military and the US defense officials had said. The EU and Turkey reached a deal on migrant crisis that will see refugees return to Turkey in exchange for aid and political concessions. From Sunday midnight, migrants arriving in Greece will be sent back to Turkey if their asylum claim is rejected. The EU leaders have welcomed the agreement, but German Chancellor Angela Merkel warned of legal challenges to come. On to sports now. And Pakistani women today won their World Cup T20 game against India in Delhi by 2 runs under the Duckworth-Lewis method. Rain stopped play with the Pakistani side making 77 runs for 6 wickets in 16 overs. Earlier, India had scored 96 for the loss of 7 wickets off in their 20 overs batting first, after Pakistan won the toss and chose to bowl. For India, the top scorer was Veda Krishnamurthy with 24 off 19 balls. In their reply, the Pakistani women started confidently, but they lost several wickets when rain stopped play. Gaikwad, Pandey, Harmanpreet Kaur and Jhulan Goswami have taken 1 Pakistani wicket each. And now let's get you some more updates from the world of sports in Sportsbeat. Indian shuttlers Saina Nehwal and HS Pranoy have reached the semi-finals of the Swiss Open badminton tournament in Basel. 2-time champion Saina outplayed Japan's Sayaka Sato 13-21, 21-15, 21-14 in a contest that lasted 52 minutes. She will next take on Wang Yehan in the semi-finals. In the men's singles, 13-seeded Pranoy took almost an hour to get across to the next stage. He will next face Su Wei Wang of Chinese Taipei. India's star wrestler Yogeshwar Dutt secured an Olympic quota after making the final round of the men's 65-kilogram freestyle event on the second day of the Asian Olympic qualification tournament. Yogeshwar became the second Indian wrestler after Narsingh Yadav to book a berth for the Rio Games to be held later this year. Serena Williams will face Victoria Azarenka in the final of the BNP Paribas Open at Indian Wells. Top-seeded Williams overcame a slow start to beat Agnieszka Radwanska 6-4, 7-6 to reach the final for the first time since 2001. Meanwhile, Rafael Nadal defeated a top 10 player for the first time this year as he saw off Japan's Kei Nishikori 6-4, 6-3 to reach the semi-finals at the Indian Wells. The Spaniard will face world number 1 Novak Djokovic next. In fact, Djokovic beat 7-seeded Joe Wilfried Tsonga 7-6, 7-6 in straight sets. Lewis Hamilton took pole position for the season-opening Australian Grand Prix, even as the new elimination qualifying format came in for heavy criticism. Hamilton celebrated his 50th pole after posting a lap time of 1 minute 25.351 seconds, with second-place teammate Nico Rosberg nowhere near his time. Ferrari's Sebastian Vettel secured third spot, while Kimi Raikkonen stood fourth on the grid. And that's all we have for you in the news tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.